कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुष्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं कौनयाति पराङ्गतिं यत्पिबं सततं रामचरितामृतासागरम् अतृप्तस्थं मुनिं वन्दे प्राचेतसमकल्मषम् गोष्पदीकृतवाराशं मसखीकृतराक्षसं रामायणमहामालारत्नं वन्दे अनिलात्मजम् अंजनानंदनं वीरं जानकीशोकनाशनं कपिसमक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम् आमिषीकृतमार्ताण्डं गोष्पदीकृतसागरं तृणीकृतदशग्रीवम् आञ्जनेयं नमाम्यहम् उल्लङ्घ्य सिन्धोःसलिलसलीलं यस्सोकवह्निं जनकात्मजायाः आदाय तेनेव ददाह लङ्कां नमामि तं प्राञ्जलिराञ्जनेयम् आञ्जनेयमतिपाटलाननं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि पौमाननन्दनं यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि यः कर्णाञ्जलिसम्पुटैः हरः सम्यक् पिबत्यादरात् वाल्मीकेर्वदनारविन्दगलितं रामायणाख्यं मधुः जन्मव्याधिजराविपत्तिमरणैः अत्यन्तसोपद्रवं संसारसह विहाय गच्छति पुमान् विष्णोर्पदं शाश्वतं तदुपगतसमाससन्धियोगं सममधुरोपनतार्धवाक्यबद्धं रघुवरचरितं मुनिप्रणीतं दशशिरसश्च वदं निशामयध्वं वाल्मीकिगिरिसम्भूतानां रामसागरगामिनि पुनातु भुवनं पुण्यात् रामायणं महानदी श्लोकसारसमाकीर्णं सर्गकल्लोलसङ्कुलं काण्डग्राह्यमहामीनं वन्दे रामायणार्णवम् वेदवेदे परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजं वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना वैदेही सहितं सुरद्रमुतले हैमे महामण्डपे मध्ये पुष्पकमासने मणिमये वीरासने सुस्थितम् अग्रे वाचयति प्रभञ्जनसुते तत्त्वं मुनिभ्यः परं वाक्यान्तं भरतादिभिः परिवृतं रामं भजे श्यामलं वामे भूमिसुता पुरश्च हनुमान् पाश्चात् सुमित्रासुतः शत्रुघ्नो भरतश्च पार्श्वदलयोः वायव्यादिकोणेषु च सुग्रीवश्च विभीषणश्च युवराट् तारास्तो जाम्बवान् मध्ये नीलसरोजकोमलरुचिं रामं भजे श्यामलं माता रामो मत्पिता रामो भ्राता रामो मत्सखा राघवेशः सर्वस्वं मे रामचन्द्रो दयाळुः नन्यदेवं नैव जाने न जाने साकेते शरदिन्दुकुन्दधवले सौदे महामण्डपे पर्यस्ता अगरधूपदीपललिते कर्पूरदीपोज्ज्वले सुग्रीवाङ्गदजाम्बवत्परिवृतं सौमित्रिणा सेवितं लीलामानुषविग्रहं रघुवरं रामं भजे श्यामलम् मेघश्यामं महाबाहुं स्थिरसत्त्वं दृढव्रतं कदा द्राक्षामहे रामं जगतः शोकनाशनं जयत्यतिबलो रामो लक्ष्मणश्च महाबलः राजा जयत् सुग्रीवा राघवेण अभिपालितः दासोऽहं कौसलेन्द्रस्य रामस्य क्लिष्टकर्मणः हनुमान् शत्रुसैन्यानां निहन्तां मारुतात्मजः न रावणसहस्रं मे युद्धे प्रतिबलं भवेत् शिलाभिस्तु प्रहर्तारपादपैश्च सहस्रशः अर्धयित्वां पुरीं लङ्काम् अभिवाद्यश्च मैथिलीं समृद्धार्धो गमिष्यामि विशतां सर्वराक्षसां धर्मात्मा सत्यसन्धश्च रामो दासर्यति पौरुषे च अप्रतिद्वन्द्वः शरयेन जहि रावणी नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवगौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसंपदां लोकाभिरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् तपस्वाध्यायनिरतां तपस्विं वाग्विदां वरं नारदपरिपप्रच्छ वाल्मीकिमुनिपुङ्गवम् ओम रामाय नमः. Last week we have seen how Hanuman killed Jambumali. Hanuman destroyed Jambumali and he also killed 80,000 kinkaras of Ravana. And he destroyed a big mansion also that consisted of some paintings and several thousands of pillars. It was a skyscraper. Hanuman destroyed it and the building was on fire. And then the death of Jambumali was duly conveyed to Ravana by the nearby Rakshasas. And then Ravana, when he heard about this, then he ordered seven of the sons of his ministers. They were young Rakshasas. He ordered them to go and catch the monkey. And he said, Drishtahi harayah shigram mam vipula vikramaha shigram maya vipula vikramaha वाली च सह सुग्रीवो जाम्बवांश्च महाबलः नीलः सेनापतिश्चैव ये चे अन्ये द्विविधादयः न एव तेषां गतिः भीम न तेजो न पराक्रमः न मतिः न बुद्धिः न रूपपरिकल्पनम्. That means I have seen Drishtahi Harayah. I have seen earlier many monkeys such as Vali, Sugriva, and even including Jambavan. Neelaha, who is the chief of the army, Neelaha Senapatishchaiva. Yeche Anye Dvividadayaha, and also monkeys such as Dvivida. Is it too loud? It's too loud, okay. Said Eche Anye Dvividadayaha. I have seen monkeys such as Dvivida also. They are very powerful. But never ever I have seen a monkey like Hanuman. This particular, he doesn't know Hanuman's name yet. He said, never ever I have seen a monkey of such prowess. All these Vanaras such as Vali, Sugriva, Jambavan, Neela and Dvivida, their swiftness, their elegance, their efficacy does not match the efficacy, intellect and the spirit of this Vanara. So be careful, go and catch hold of this monkey and bring him before me. And so ordered the lord of the demons. And then the minister's sons, they all took several chariots, maces, clubs, spears and several other golden weapons and got onto their chariots and rushed towards Hanuman. And Hanuman, like the time god, like Kala or Yama, he was sitting on that archway, on that Torana of Lanka. He was waiting for all these ministers' sons. And when the Kinkaras came before him, again he jumped on them, he killed all the 7 ministers at one go. Terrified, all the Rakshasas who were left back, they went again to Ravana and told Ravana that the minister's sons are killed in a minute. Then Ravana ordered his 5 commander-in-chiefs. They are Virupaksha, Yupaksha, Durdara, Pragasa and Basakarna. 5 Rakshasas. He ordered them, go and get that monkey in front of me. Again all these Rakshasas took all the weapons and then they went towards the Torana where Hanuman was seated. And when they went, first Durdara, a Rakshasa named Durdara, planted 5 arrows onto the forehead of Hanuman. And Hanuman got very angry. He grew in size and he jumped into the sky and thereupon rushed, came down dashing onto the chariot of Durdara. And he jumped onto the chariot of Durdara like that. And then the horses were killed, the chariot was destroyed, and the Rakshasa Durdara was also fell down dead. Looking at the death of Durdara, his other friends, Virupaksha and Yupaksha, were angered. They both took 2 spears and then rushed towards Hanuman. And Hanuman jumped down and took a huge sal tree, Salavruksha. And then with that Salavruksha, he killed both Yupaksha and Virupaksha. And now 3 of the demons were dead and 2 of them remained, Pragasa and Basakarna. Now they also got hold of some other weapons and rushed towards Hanuman. And then they fought for a while. And then Hanuman thought, it is too much time now, I should kill these guys. And then he lifted a huge mountain and then he lidded both of the Rakshasas just like one lids a boiling pot. He put that mountain on both of them and then they both were crushed to death. And all the other Rakshasas were also crushed under that mountain. They all ran. The remaining Rakshasas ran and informed Ravana that all of the Rakshasas you sent are killed. So far Hanuman has destroyed 80,000 Kinkaras in the first shot, and then he killed Jambumali, son of Prahasta. Then he killed the 7 ministers' sons, and then he killed the 5 Rakshasa chief generals, Virupaksha, Yupaksha, Durdara, Pragasa and Basakarna. And then now Ravana, he is astonished by the prowess of Hanuman. He thinks, how come one single monkey, single-handedly Not even Indra or the celestials have entered this Lanka so far. Now this monkey comes and kills all my generals. Then he looks around, who to send next. Then his eyes fall on Aksha Kumara. Aksha is the son of Ravana. Hanuman says that Aksha is the son of Mandodari when he is narrating the story to Jambavan. So let's consider Aksha as the son of Mandodari for now. Aksha comes in front of his father. He says, give me permission. I will go and catch hold of this Vanara and bring in front of you. And then Ravana blesses him. Aksha, who is dressed with golden ornaments, with nice jewels and also a crown, he takes his resplendent chariot, which he acquired because of his penance. Aksha was also a very powerful warrior, and he was a young prince. And he drew his chariot towards Hanuman. And then thinking that Hanuman was not an easy monkey to overpower, Aksha contemplated on how to engage war with Hanuman. When he came in front of Hanuman, he took out his big bow and he took out some important arrows and then he shot at Hanuman. And then Hanuman also grew in size and he flew into the sky. Now he was like a radiant sun. When Aksha planted several arrows on Hanuman's body, the arrows looked just like the rays of the sun. If you draw a sun, you point out with lines, right? Hanuman looked like that. And then both of them fought for several hours in the sky. All of the celestials, demigods, nagas, kinyas, kimpurshas, yakshas, pannagas, they all assembled there in the sky and they thought, who would win this war? Both of them seemed to be equally powerful. Then when they were fighting for such a long time, Hanuman thought Aksha is a young boy, I should not kill him. He was a little merciful on Aksha. But then when the fight was taking longer and longer, Hanuman realized that a flaming fire should be put off when it is small, even before it gets into a raging fire of destruction. Then Hanuman jumped into the sky and Aksha also and slapped the chariot. He killed the horses, mules, and also the chariot was destroyed, the axle was broken, the pole was broken. Then Aksha jumped out of his chariot and he flew into the sky just like a sage casts off his body and ascends the heaven. That's the thing Valmiki compares to, how Aksha jumped from his chariot. Then Aksha also flew into the air, into the sky. Then Hanuman caught hold of Aksha's feet and then came down dashing onto the ground. He whirled him around 100 times and then crashes him on the ground. And Aksha became a lump of flesh. And then the Rakshasas, terrified, they go back to Ravana and inform the death of Aksha. Ravana for the first time feels dejected. For the first time he has witnessed what cruelty is. That's right? People don't see cruelty unless, they themselves experience. This Nazi commander who was at Hermann Göring, he was arrested. And then he was joking with the jury and he was making fun. He was telling all jokes to the lawyers. But in the end, when he was announced that he would be hanged like a criminal, it was for the first time he saw evil. Until then, he didn't see evil. Like that, Ravana also for the first time saw something of that sort. And then he cried, he felt, and then he looked around, and then he ordered Indrajit, my dear Indrajit, you are the only one capable of overpowering any evil of this sort. You cannot be overpowered even by celestials, demigods, Indra or anyone. You have defeated Indra, you have defeated Swargaloka, you have defeated many other warriors and lay them slain. Now today, it is your opportunity to go and bind this monkey, bring him to me. You have several missiles that can overpower this monkey, such as Brahmastra, Pashupatastra, and several other astras. My dear son, you are very, very vigilant in war. Only you can destroy this Vanara. Go ahead. And he blessed his son. And then Indrajit took his chariot, and the chariot was yoked with fearful tigers. This time, Indrajit's chariot has 4 tigers. And then those tigers had, huge teeth. Maybe if you see some, Paleolithic animals, huge tigers with huge tusks, those kind of tigers were yoked to the chariot of Indrajit, because Ramayana happened 17 million years ago. there is a possibility that these animals existed at that time. Because when Hanuman is jumping from the mountain of Arishta, going back, it is said that he has seen elephants with red spots. And when Hanuman entered Lanka, when he came into Ravana's palace, he saw elephants with 4 tusks. So there were elephants with 4 tusks, millions of years ago. So, Valmiki clearly mentions all these animals were seen by Hanuman. So now, Indrajit's chariot was yoked with 4 tigers, powerful tigers. And then Indrajit came forward, and Hanuman could hear the rumbling sound from the chariot of Indrajit. And he could also see, the bow twangs, the twangs coming from the bow of Indrajit. He could also hear. So Hanuman thought, this could be a powerful Rakshasa. Then Indrajit came in front of him and fired numerous arrows into Hanuman. But Hanuman, like wind god, he jumped into the sky and then escaped all these arrows. The fusillade of arrows, he just brushed through them and then he escaped in between them. Then Indrajit thought, I have already fired all my missiles. Only Brahmastra can overpower him. And then he took out the Brahmastra, the terrible weapon, and then he shot it against Hanuman. And then Hanuman, knowing that he would not be injured by the Brahmastra, he remembered the boons given by Brahma to him. Then he thought, but I shall respect Brahmadeva. And so, he folded his hands and then he submitted himself to the Astra. Then the Brahmastra bound Hanuman, and then Hanuman fell down on the ground. As and when the Rakshasas saw Hanuman falling on the ground, they ran to him and then tied him with ropes made of kemp and also ropes made of coconut fiber and jute cloths. Kemp is a kind of fibrous plant whose seeds can be eaten, and the bark of kemp plant can be used as for making a rope, and it looks very good too. Of course, it's illegal in US to grow kemp. It's treated equal to marijuana and zero tolerance against it. So don't try to get it. But it can, they make bags, and there are many good benefits for kemp. But anyway, so Hanuman was tied with those ropes. As and when the Rakshasas tied Hanuman with, that kind of bindings, Indrajit thought, all my effort has been laid waste by these foolish Rakshasas. The Astra would withdraw its effect as and when the victim is bounded by any other means other than the Astra. So he thought for a second, now the entire Lanka is in jeopardy because he has used Brahmastra already once. He cannot use it again in the same day. Now Hanuman is not yet dead. He's just bound by the Astra. And then as and when they bound with the kemp and jute clothes, the Astra withdrew. Now no other weapon can overpower Hanuman. Now the entire Lanka is in jeopardy. Even Indrajit cannot do anything. So he thought, now the entire Lanka is in jeopardy. But then, here it is written by Valmiki that Hanuman did not realize that he was released by the Astra. But then, when Hanuman enters the court of Ravana, he says that, he knows that he is not bound by the Astra. But at least, from the Rakshasa perspective, Hanuman did not realize that the Astra has withdrawn its effect. So the Rakshasas had dragged Hanuman in the streets. They beat him with canes, and they also used, abusive language towards him. And they were dragging him in the main streets, or in the mean streets of Lanka. And then when Hanuman was dragged like that, many other Rakshasa ladies along with their children, grandchildren, they all came out to see the festivities. They saw Hanuman being dragged. And then they finally brought him to the palace of Ravana. Hanuman saw Ravana with 10 heads, 20 hands, everything decorated with golden ornaments. And he saw elders sitting at the feet of Ravana. And he saw many other ministers around. He thought, what a glory. If he had not followed the path of unrighteousness, may long live this lord of demons, Ravana. But he did not. So his life is a waste now. Then when he came in, Prahasta, the minister of Ravana, Prahasta, the minister of Ravana, came forward to Hanuman and said, "O Vanara, do not be afraid." Here Prahasta is telling to Hanuman that do not be afraid. Let's see what happens to Prahasta in future. So Prahasta says, "Do not be afraid. You tell the truth. Thereby I can protect you. If you say the truth, you will be liberated from here, from the bondings. But say the truth, O Vanara, from where from have you come?" Ravana also questions, "Who is this Ravana? Who is this Vanara? Where from has he come? Whose servant is he? Whose messenger is he? And who is his ally?" All these 4 questions were asked by Ravana. Now Prahasta is also asking the same questions. Who are you? Where did you come from? Who sent you? And tell everything in truth. Do not lie. Your life, your liberty lies in whatever you say. If it is truth, you will be liberated. Then Hanuman looked up and said, "I am the servant of Sugriva." He says first that, here it is written, Vanarendrasya, Vanareshwaraha. He did not say Rama or Sugriva. He says, "I am the messenger of Vanareshwara." Then who is the Lord of Vanaras? Is it Rama or is it Sugriva? It should be Sugriva, because Rama is Jagadishwara, not just Vanareshwara. He is Lokanada Sikhamani, crest jewel of all the kings in this world. So it was Sugriva. So Hanuman says, "I am the servant of Sugriva." He says, long ago there lived a king called Dasaratha. He had many chariots, horses and elephants. He ruled the kingdom of Ayodhya, and he was a friend of all living entities. And his son was Rama. He came to the forest of Dandaka with his wife and his brother Lakshmana. And then that Sita, who is his wife, had been abducted by you, Ravana. And that Rama made friendship with Sugriva. He killed Vali with a single arrow and established Ramachandra and established Sugriva as the king of Kishkinda. This is the strength of Rama. And your brother Sugriva also wants you now that you have to release Sita. You have to give back Sita to Rama. O Ravana, lord of the demons, listen to me. Your brother Sugriva says this. If Vali had been killed, who are you? Within a fraction of a second, the Vanara tribe will pounce upon Lanka and destroy the entire Rakshasa forces along with you. We can kill you easily. So when Hanuman said this, Ravana was angered, obviously. And then he says, "Kill this monkey at once." Actually, Hanuman continues that, "O Ravana, there is none in this universe who can live happily by provoking Rama or by causing any grief to Rama or by doing anything against Ramachandra." It's a good example, right? In the modern world, recently Karunanidhi, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, he made remarks about Rama. He said, "Rama is a drunkard," and I have read it from Valmiki Ramayana. Unfortunately, none of the other politicians made any statements against him, because they didn't read Valmiki Ramayana. Obviously, it's not written anywhere in Valmiki Ramayana that Rama drank. There's only one instance where Rama drank sugarcane juice, not anything else, and sugarcane juice is not supposed to be anything. So now his daughter is arrested and is in Tihar jail. So whoever makes remarks about Rama end up their lives in ignominious shame. So all these criminals, they rejoice in blaming Rama and Vibhishana. But anyway, so when Hanuman said that those words were very true, that whoever does anything against Rama, they will not live happily for a longer time. Not that Rama is cruel or punishing or unforgiving, but his devotees such as Hanuman and Dvivida, Mainda and Sugriva, they won't keep quiet. They are Vanaras, they cannot be controlled. So Hanuman says that. Then Ravana orders that let this monkey be killed immediately. Then Vibhishana stopped and said, "My dear brother, you, having read all the Vedas, cannot do like this. It is unrighteous of a king to kill an envoy. You cannot do this. You are the ruler of Lanka. You possess many rich wealth, abundant wealth in this Lanka. You have many chariots. You can destroy those princes and all those Vanaras who are on the other side of the ocean easily. Why to kill this envoy? If Hanuman is killed, there is nobody from the other party to jump across this ocean and come to this Lanka. Or there is nobody who can go and inform Ramachandra about your existence or incite those two princes to come here and wage a war with you. Those stupid princes, Vibhishana says this, those stupid prince, they don't know how powerful you are. So let this Vanara be kept alive. But a messenger, even the sages, upon the envoys who have caused them great trouble, the sages say that you should not kill him. But you can disfigure him, you can cut his limbs, you can make him handicapped, or you can put a mark on his body, or you can shave his head. So he tells all these things. And you might think, why is Vibhishana talking like this? But the very next sloka, Valmiki explains, thus spoke Vibhishana according to time, place and circumstance. So one should understand that some of the speeches, if you think, why is this character speaking like this? But, Valmiki here clearly explains that it was spoken according to time, place and circumstance. Otherwise, Ravana would order Hanuman to be killed, and of course they cannot kill Hanuman, and Hanuman would destroy the entire Lanka, and where is the war, for Rama to come and liberate Sita? So Vibhishana postponed the death of Ravana and others, saying that, my dear brother, you cannot kill the envoy, but you can disfigure him. Then Ravana liked the idea of cutting the limbs of the Vanara. He says, for the monkeys, the most cherished limb is its tail. So why don't you set fire? Why don't you set this Vanara's tail on fire? And with a burnt tail, it's an insult to a Vanara. And he goes ashamed, with this burnt tail to whomever has sent him. And the insult is to those people who have sent this messenger. So burn his tail. And the Rakshasas rejoiced. They went back and they bought some jute clothes, old cotton clothes, and then they tied to the tail of Hanuman. Usually in the serials and movies it is shown that Hanuman grows his tail and then they keep on wrapping clothes, and that and all is not there. They just wrap the clothes around his tail and then they pour oil on it and then they set it on fire. And Hanuman looks at it. Then he's dragged into the streets of Lanka, and everybody came, out of their houses into the junctions of those roads, and then they all saw Hanuman's tail on fire, and they rejoiced. They scolded him. They did, several abusive and mockery at Hanuman, but Hanuman kept quiet. And then the Rakshasas were dragging him, and as and when the tail was set on fire, Hanuman immediately grew his size. And then the bonds were released, and then he shortened himself again. He contracted himself, and the bonds were released, and then Hanuman became liberated again. And then with a big iron pillar, he killed all the other Rakshasas, and then he jumped onto a building rooftop. Ravana must be really foolish. To add fire to the wind is really foolish. It destroys everything. So Hanuman is son of Pavanatmaja, and he tells to Ravana, I am the son of wind god. Now, knowing that, he set his tail on fire. He added wind and fire together. Now Hanuman is top on a rooftop, and all the Rakshasas who saw Hanuman's tail on fire, they rushed towards Sita. They want to tell Sita, what they have done to the Vanara. They went and said, that monkey who spoke to you, whose face was crimson red, now his tail is set on fire. The Rakshasas have caught him. His tail is on fire. Immediately Sita felt so much anguish and pain as much she felt when Ravana abducted her. So the pain of hearing Hanuman's tail is on fire was equivalent to being separated from Rama. So Sita also had so much mercy on Hanuman. Then Sita prayed to fire god, if at all I have done any good to my husband, if at all I am a chaste and devoted wife to my husband, this fire will not trouble Hanuman. So when she prayed like that, the fire god did not show his effect on Hanuman's tail. Hanuman also thought, how come my tail, as if there is a snowball on my tail? I am not at all troubled by the fire. Maybe it's because I am serving Lord Ramachandra. Or maybe it's because Sita prayed for me. Or maybe it's because the fire god is a friend of my father, wind god. That's why I am not being troubled by this fire. And then he thought, with the same fire, I will set the entire Lanka in fire. And then he jumped from rooftop to rooftop and then set each of the houses of the Rakshasas on fire. First he jumped onto Mahaparshva, and then he set Mahaparshva's house on fire. Then Kumbhakarna, then Makaraksha, Sonitaksha, Yagnashatru, Vihangama, Durjaya, Durdara, so many other Rakshasas he set fire to all these houses. Then the entire Lanka was on fire, and even the wind helped this fire to become a rays of destruction at that time. Within a fraction of time, the entire Lanka was set on fire, and at some locations it looked as if it was Kimshuka flowers. At some locations it looked like as if it is Kumkuma flowers. At some locations it looked like as if it's molten gold. The fire was in all these colors, and the entire Lanka was burning. It was as if like Rudra has undertaken his destruction activities right today. Hanuman looked as if Rudra in the time of dissolution. And then when the entire Lanka was on fire, Hanuman came down, and for a second he felt, what a thing I have done. In anger, I have destroyed the entire Lanka. Great are those souls who control their anger, because one who is in anger does many things that are unapprovable by the Vedas or the scriptures. He disrespects the elders, one who is in anger. And similarly, I have done a bad deed here. In this fire, when the entire Lanka is burned, he did a survey, and not even one part of Lanka seems to be all right. Everything is destroyed. How can Sita be alive? I have killed Sita. It is a shame on me. As a servant, I have caused great destruction to my master. Instead of doing my task, I have killed Sita in anger. If Sita's death news is conveyed to Rama, Rama wouldn't live. And upon Rama's death, all the three other brothers, Bharata, Shatrughna and Lakshmana, will also die. And the entire race of Ikshvakus will die. And the Vanaras will jump from the mountain terrains onto the rugged and flat terrains, and they would give up their lives. I am the root cause for the destruction of this entire world, universe. And so saying, Hanuman felt so sad. But there were some auspicious omens in the heart of Hanuman. Like his heart was in a pleasant mood, and he didn't find any sadness engulfing his heart. And he also heard Siddhas and Charanas, they were like the divine broadcasters or the newsreaders in olden times. So the Siddhas and Charanas, they were talking, even though entire Lanka was destroyed, but the Simshupa tree under which Sita is kept is hale and healthy. Sita is fine, and the Simshupa tree is also unburnt. So that place is fine, but the entire Lanka is destroyed. The entire wealth of the Rakshasas is gone. Actually, it is described when Hanuman was burning Lanka, some of the Rakshasas came out of their house and then they jumped out of their house with fire. Some of the things were mentioned so vividly. You see that when a building is on fire, people jump out of it. So Valmiki had mentioned vividly all the scenes of Lanka being burnt. So the Siddhas and Charanas were talking like this among themselves, and Hanuman heard it, and he thought, thank goodness that Sita is alive. And then he jumped back again into Ashokavana. He came to the Shimshupa tree, and then he paid his obeisances to Sita. When Hanuman was talking to Sita, he stood like this with curved palms, and then he was talking to her. Earlier when he spoke, that's how it was mentioned. And then Hanuman came and he told Sita, thank heavens, my dear mother, you are still alive. I have burnt the entire Lanka, but by my fortune, you are still alive. Actually, Hanuman thinks, the fire that did not cause me trouble, how can that fire cause trouble to Sita? How can fire burn fire? It cannot be possible. So now he comes to Sita and says, by my good fortune, you are still alive. And then he takes her permission. Then Sita also bids him, she tells all the good words, auspicious prayers that you say before giving a farewell. So, and then Hanuman circumambulates her, and then he takes her permission, and then he goes to the mountain of Arishta. That mountain is called Arishta Parvata. And then he jumps onto that Arishta Sikhara, and then he grows his size. On one end Lanka is burning, on one end Hanuman is growing his size, and then that mountain had rows of gardens, rows of gardens, and on which there were elephants with red spots. I tried to Google, were there any paleo animals of this kind, but I couldn't find. All I found was some teddy bears, with red spots. But Hanuman sees elephants with red spots here, and then on that mountain again he grows his size, and then when he crushes the mountain to jump to the north, that mountain was 30 yojanas in height and 10 yojanas in width, and this entire mountain is leveled because of Hanuman's pressure. And then he crushed it into the earth, and then he jumped towards the northern landscape of Bharatavarsha. And then he jumped across the ocean, and then he saw many sharks and dolphins and many other fishes in the ocean. And then he came to Mount Mainaka, touched it with affection, and then he went to Mahendra Parvata and then roared like a lion. And then Hanuman seemed as if he was swallowing all the clouds, and then he was dragging the clouds with him together because he was going with a supersonic speed. And then he came down to Mahendra. When he roared, all the Vanaras heard the noise from Hanuman's lips. Then they thought, Hanuman would not utter this roar if he had not accomplished the task. So we are sure Hanuman had seen Sita, and they all rejoiced. And then Hanuman, upon landing on Mahendra, he first went to a waterfall, bathed himself, and then came forward to Jambavan, and he first offered his obeisances to Jambavan. And then he said, all the Vanaras also gathered around Hanuman. They collected roots, fruits and honey, and then took to Hanuman as gifts, because the Vanara has returned hale and healthy, so they were all happy. So they went towards Hanuman. Then Hanuman clasped Angada's hand in hand, and then he took him, and then they both sat down on a rock in a distant place, in a forest, on that Mount Mahendra. And all other Vanaras gathered around them. They all sat on the flat stones. Jambavan also sat there. Then Hanuman detailed out his journey. He said, I have seen Sita. Of course, here it is said, seen, I have Sita. First he utters the word seen, because that's what Sugriva tells when Hanuman is going, that first you should say this. So now all the Vanaras are gathered around Hanuman, and he narrates out. You all know that I have grew my size here on Mount Mahendra and jumped towards the southern ocean, and thereupon Mount Mainaka grew in size and came to give me shelter, but then I pushed him aside, thinking that he was an obstacle. But then when I realized that he was offering me shelter, then I refused it because I was on my duty, and then went forward. Then Surasa, the mother of the serpents, she came, and then she asked me to be her food. I denied, saying that I am on the service of Lord Ramachandra, I have to go to Lanka and protect Sita. But then she had a boon from Brahma that I have to become her food. Then she grew her size to 15 yojanas. Then I too grew my size, but suddenly contracted it to a size of a thumb, human thumb. And then I entered her mouth and then came back. She blessed me. And then I came back from her mouth, and I was traveling towards Lanka with great speed. But then my speed was hindered because a Rakshasi caught hold of my shadow, and my speed was hindered. And she was Simhika, and her mouth grew into the size of a cave, and then I entered her body and then cut off the chest and then came out. Simhika died. Then I went to Lanka. Thereupon the personified Lanka, who is a demon, Lankini, obstructed me. When I thwacked her with my fist on her head, the demon fell down like a stone. And then she told me that she had a boon from Brahma, that nobody can ever defeat her. But if somebody defeats her, that's the time that Lanka is doomed. And then she permitted me to enter Lanka. I went inside Lanka. I searched the entire Ravana's palace, but I couldn't find Sita there. But then in Ashokavana, under a Simshupa tree, I found Sita emaciated, and she was looking like fire. emanating from a Vedic ritual. And she was emaciated from grief. She was a young princess, but her thoughts were always at Rama. Her thoughts were always towards Rama. And he said that, and he offered his obeisances to Sita from Mount Mahendra itself. Then the Rakshasas tried to capture me, and then I killed several other Rakshasas single-handedly. And then I have burnt the entire Lanka, took the permission of Sita, and then came back here. And he narrated the entire incident of Sundarakanda. That's the beauty of Sundarakanda. Sundarakanda was recited within Sundarakanda several times. So when he narrated all the story, and he also said that I have done all these tasks single-handedly, and I have killed many Rakshasas. Even I could have killed Ravana, but then Sita wanted Rama to kill Ravana. That's why I came here. And whatever task I have not done, you guys finish it and complete the task. Hanuman said that. Then Angada got up and said, let's go to Lanka and kill all the Rakshasas and take Sita and give her to Rama. If we had not taken Sita from Lanka, and if we go to Rama and say right now and that we have just found Sita, and if we don't present Sita to Rama, Rama would be disappointed with us, with our prowess. So let's go from here directly to Lanka and kill all the Rakshasas. When he said that, Jambavan got up and said, my dear boy, you have spoken as a valiant warrior, true to your glory. And it is apt that you are the son of Vali. You have spoken in such a way. But you should find the inclination of Rama. What is Rama thinking? So my dear boy, it is time that we report it to the elders and take their advice. And when Jambavan said that, everybody agreed, and they all travelled towards Prasravanagiri, where Rama was stationed. And they were all, hailing, shouting aloud that, Rama should take his revenge on Ravana. Like that, they were all shouting, and then they went towards Prasravanagiri. Imagine to control those many monkeys. That's why Jambavan is called the CEO of the Vanara enterprise, because he can control all these Vanaras with apt and suitable words. And when they all went to Prasravanagiri, on their way they saw Madhuvana. Madhuvana is a beautiful garden grove which was protected by Riksharajas, who was the father of Vali and Sugriva, not Hanuman. So Riksharajas had this garden, and that garden was inherited by Vali, and he also protected it, and then it was given to Sugriva. It was a favorite garden of Sugriva. And Dadimukha, one of the maternal uncle of Sugriva, used to guard that Madhuvana. So as and when the Vanaras saw Madhuvana, they asked permission from Angada. Can we drink honey? Can we eat all these fruits, roots, and drink this honey in this Madhuvana? And Angada asked Jambavan and Hanuman what to do, and then they permitted, yes. And then Angada permitted all the Vanaras to drink the honey. All the Vanaras went inside, and then they started destroying the trees, drink the honey. They took the dronas. Drona means it's a drum made of wood. It's a wooden drum. It's like a, what do you call those in which you preserve barrel, right? It's like a wooden barrel, drona. In that they used to store honey. Maybe that's where the word drum comes from. So in that drona they preserved that honey. So they were all drinking that honey. They were even throwing out the honey, pouring out the honey on the ground, and then they were drinking some, and then they were rejoicing and dancing. And Dadimukha came and tried to stop them. And all the Vanaras fell on him. With their nails, they tore him. With their teeth, they bit him. And then with their thighs, they kicked him. And then they threw him out. And Dadimukha went away. But then his guards came again. When all the other Vanaras, they were drinking honey, Hanuman also came and told them, my dear Vanaras, you drink the honey in a calm manner. Whoever comes to oppose you, I will protect you from them. When Hanuman said that, Angada also told, even though these are not appropriate words, but I permit you to drink honey, because today you have seen Sita, and Hanuman has accomplished such a great task, so we should all party ourselves. So this kind of, after a project, taking a project party thing, it's from Treta Yuga. So they all tried to rejoice in Madhuvana. And then Dadimukha's guards came there, and even the guards were kicked by all the Vanaras. They went away. And some of the Vanaras were talking aloud, and some of the Vanaras were laughing. Some Vanaras were telling what others were doing to somebody else. Some were just sleeping on the ground after drinking the honey. So they were all in an inebriate condition. One might ask that, how come by drinking honey, you'll get into that condition, but when you eat curd, you feel sleepy and drowsy, right? After a hot meal. And similarly, the Vanaras, they were hungry since long time. Now after drinking so much honey, they were in sleepy condition. So some were sleeping, some were fighting, some were kicking each other, some were joking, some were just continuously laughing, some were weeping. It was just like a Vanara pub. So then Dadimukha and the guards came back again, and then they tried to refrain them. This time Hanuman, Angada, Jambavan, they all fell on Dadimukha, and then they kicked him, they broke his limbs, and Dadimukha was woebegone, like he was almost put to death. Then with the broken limbs and shattered veins and arteries, Dadimukha somehow jumped into the sky, and then he landed exactly where Sugriva was there. Then he landed, and then he asked for the blessings of Sugriva. And Sugriva asked him, Dadimukha, what happened to you? Who has done this to you? Then Dadimukha got up and said, my dear Lord, the Vanaras who went in the southern direction, they are all back now. But they are destroying your glorious garden Madhuvana, which had been inherited by you from the king Riksharajas. Even Vali had taken care of it, but now that Madhuvana is destroyed. If you see, Hanuman destroyed Ashokavana in Lanka, and the Vanaras have destroyed Madhuvana in Kishkinda. I mean, it's kind of surprising that both of them did the same thing. But then when Dadimukha said that, Lakshmana came and asked, what happened? Why is this Dadimukha beaten to death? And what is the news that he is conveying? Then Sugriva said, my dear Lakshmana, listen carefully. The Vanaras who went in the southern direction, they came back. And if they had not seen Sita, they would not dare to enter that Madhuvana or destroy it, because they know the royal order. They have already passed the deadline that I have given them. Now they come back and then they destroy the Madhuvana. They will be put to death, they know that, but they have come here and they are rejoicing and they are destroying Madhuvana. That itself is an indication that the Vanaras have succeeded in finding Sita. I am sure that none other than Hanuman have seen Sita, because he is established intellectually, courageous, in courageousness and in strength, in every aspect of an intelligent envoy. Hanuman is situated well, and only he can accomplish this task. And he also says, Yatra Jambavan yatra netrasyat angadasya baleshwaraha Hanuman yatra adhishtata tasya nagatir anyadha. Wherever Jambavan is the leader and Angada is the chief of the forces and Hanuman is the administrator, there that task will not proceed in any other direction other than success. So with that good note, we will stop here and continue our Sundarakanda next week. Any questions? And next week we will conclude Sundarakanda and we will continue Yuddhakanda. Continue from Yuddhakanda. And we are almost reaching the end of our Ramayana. And those who have been attending since long time, you can take this as a good credit for you. Shunvan Ramayanam Bhaktyaya Padam Padameva Sayatu Brahmanasthanam Brahmana Pujyate Sada. If you listen to Ramayana, at least one sloka from it, one word from it, your life is successful. And even your generation, your father's generation, their father's generation, their grandfather's generation, everybody would be liberated. And the intent is the change of heart. Everybody who listens to Ramayana, there will be a change of heart, and you will develop a love for Rama, and you will find your eternal companion and be happy in your life. So, and Ramayana above all is very interesting, and the Ramayana that we know is not Ramayana at all. Valmiki Ramayana is so much in detail and so much beauty and so much knowledge is embedded in this Ramayana. So take part in this Ramayana Yajna and we will conclude it. So, surprising that nobody has any questions. So, yeah.
When Hanuman lands in Lanka, there will be like 3 mountains, right? What are these mountain names, and can you give some background on that?
Suvela, Trikutachala, I don't know the other one.
Any significance on the names of that?
There is one mountain, they say that it fell, it was not there when he landed. When he bought the Sanjeevani Parvata, some of the rocks fell in Lanka and then they became a mountain there. Some rocks fell in near Mahendragiri also, in Tamil Nadu. That's the only significance of that mountain. But Suvela Parvata is just a mountain, it was there. And Arishta Parvata, from which Hanuman jumped. And Trikutachala is the mountain on which Lanka was situated. It was a hill, Trikuta, and on top of it, Lanka was constructed.
Okay.
There is no significance.
And the name Arishta in Telugu means it's bad luck kind of a thing, right?
Arishta? Yeah, in Telugu they say it's, Arishta is bad luck. Yeah. But there is a Prajapati called Arishtanemi. And actually Arishta is also called, sun god is also called, no, not sun god. But there is a Prajapati called Arishtanemi. And there is a Rakshasa also called Arishtanemi, whom Krishna kills in Dwapara Yuga. So, the same word can be used in different contexts. So, yeah, I don't know why in Telugu Arishta is bad luck, but yeah, it is there. Yeah.
So when Hanuman leaves the Lanka, he gets a piece of jewelry from Sita so that Rama can identify that he actually met.
Yeah, that we discussed last week. Sita gives her Chudamani, which is the crushed jewel that you wore on top of your hair bun. In olden days they used to wear it. Now, if you see the deities, carved according to the Shastra, you see that Chudamani on top of Sita's bun, hair bun. So that Chudamani was actually crafted. It comes from the ocean, and then it was given by Indra to Janaka. And then Janaka presents the same jewel at the time of Sita's marriage. That's why she says, you give this jewel to Rama, he will recognize at once three people, my mother, my father, and his father Dasaratha. And even here, she doesn't mention the name of his mother. So Janaka's wife is not known yet. Valmiki gives so many names of all these Rakshasas, but he has not given the name of Janaka's wife. But why did he give the names of so many Rakshasas? Because if you go to Ayodhya, in Vaikunta, the Ayodhya in Vaikunta, not here Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh, it's no more Ayodhya. But if you go to Ayodhya in Vaikunta, there, let's see if you found some person from a distance and you ask him what is your name, and he says, my name is Vidyut Jihva. Immediately you'll realize this is a Rakshasa. Okay, I should not go near him. But if he says Gandhamadana or Dvivida or Mainda, you know that he's a Vanara. Oh, if I reach him, he will help me. So be careful. Even in that Ayodhya, you'll find so many Rakshasas there in Dandakavana and Janasthana. So you can be guided properly. Maybe that's why Valmiki gives the identification of all these Rakshasas. Vividly he describes all their names. But he did not give the name of Janaka's wife, Sita's mother. So, yeah. So she says, Rama will remember three people, my mother, my father, and Dasaratha. So give this Chudamani to him. So Rama would recollect all, the things that happened in his marriage, and then he would remember Sita, and then so that he would come back and protect her. She thinks that Rama has forgotten her. She had this small doubt in her heart somewhere. Actually, Hanuman expresses Sita's doubt in future when he is narrating the story to Rama. So I want to talk about it in detail, so that's why we stopped at this point. All the Vanaras, when they first, Hanuman doesn't go and tell Rama that he had found Sita. The news is conveyed in an indirect way. Some people, last time when Mataji asked, how come Hanuman permitted the Vanaras to enjoy in Madhuvana? The news has to be conveyed to Rama swiftly, right, without any delay. But why was there this delay? But the answer to that is, if Hanuman goes directly in front of Rama, there is some kind of anxiety, right? What happened to Sita? But if the news is conveyed in an indirect way, the southern party Vanaras have come and they are destroying the Madhuvana, so it's a distraction from, did they find Sita or not? That's secondary now. Why are they destroying the Madhuvana? What happened? They have come, they even have forgotten that they have reached back. They are saying, why is it destroyed? But then they say, okay, they might have found Sita and that's why they are doing this. So So it's established that Sita was found. So even before knowing about the result, you know that it is positive news. So Rama would not be worried at all. So for this reason, even Hanuman allowed the Vanaras to enjoy, so that the news would be spread that Sita has been found. So that's why this delay. And good news, you have to relish it for longer time. If you find something good, you should relish it for longer time, keep it. And if it is bad news, you should distribute it, and dilute it as soon as possible. Some people keep bad news to themselves and then suffer in themselves. That's bad. You should just give it out. You should share it with your kith and kin and friends. And good news, you have to relish. You have to keep it secret. And people should, you have to woo people like, oh, what happened? And then you should give it out. So that's, Ramayana explains us, and Ramayana gives us, a direction in which we have to enjoy our own life. Just because we don't have Ramayana in our life, our lives are so miserable. So after reading Valmiki Ramayana, they will become, you'll become wise, and you will enjoy well, and you will know how to talk to each other. And that's the beauty of Ramayana. So yeah, come and we'll take part in this Ramayana, and we'll do this every week. So I see some new faces. Those who are interested can come and sign up. I'll note down your email and I'll send you the updates. So we'll have this every Saturday, and we are planning to complete the second Ramayana recital by the end of July. So in 8 more weeks we'll complete Ramayana. We will hold a little more sessions for Yuddhakanda and complete it by July 31st. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Mangalam Kosalendraya Mahaniya Gunatmane Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam. Hare Krishna.